Good day to you. My name is Maria Kondzielska and this is Poland Daily Culture. And today we talk about literature and film because with us in the studio is a very special guest, Marcel Woźniak, an author and a writer in one person. Marcel, thank you very much for showing up here.
Thank you for having me.
Well, you are definitely the most famous biographist of Leopold Thurman and yourself a writer. And recently we had this movie in the theaters called Philip, which is based on the novel of Leopold Thurman. And you are an absolute expert when it comes of his literature and his books. So you can tell us how is this film actually accurate to the movie, and have you enjoyed it?
Yes, I did enjoy the movie for sure. For the very first moment when I had a chance to spend just literally a few minutes on the set, because actually it was shot in Toruń. There are a few localizations. One of these was the city of Toruń, which is my city. I live there and I study there still. So according to your kind words, you said at the beginning, there are a few of us, I must say, biographers or scholars, like I have to mention Darek Pachocki or Kasia and Maciej Gawędcy, but indeed I wrote 3 books dedicated to Leopold Thurman. And going back to the movie you mentioned, I was actually thrilled and astonished while watching this movie, of course, because of my personal
attachment to Leopold Thurman.
It was so emotional for me, especially that a few years ago I was in US and I had a chance to find this piece of paper, the document which says that Leopold was pretending a French guy. It stands that he's a Frenchman, Catholic, architect, born in Warsaw, etc. So that was the moment when I realized that Leopold Thurman, so the main character of the Philip, actually was pretending during the war that he was a Frenchman, because that's the basic plot of the movie. The Jewish guy goes to Frankfurt in Germany, this Frankfurt more far west, and he's pretending that he's from France and he's working as a waiter in a Nazi German hotel. So
this story is unbelievable. I mean, if it was not true, I wouldn't believe it myself. How did it happen? How a Jewish guy, actually Polish Jewish, but still speaking good enough French and German, being able to pretend that he is French in front of people, international people from Belgium, people from other countries, and not being recognized as a Polish Jew. And he was able to do it, and he wrote a book based on it, which is a totally different approach to war, because after all, he's having sort of fun when the rest of Poland is in misery, but it is a different sort of fun. It is a fun with having that back in your mind that your parents are in a concentration camp, for example.
Well, I still consider it as I think we do not have enough respect to people from that era, especially from people who were, for example, born in the year 1920, the Columbus, and we do not actually know how brave they were. Mostly in the personal way, the way they behaved, the way they were struggling and trying to survive. So I don't want to say that Thurman wasn't unique, so Philip as well, but what I wanted to say is that people, especially during the war, had a lot of strategies to survive. It was black and white situation. You had to do everything to survive. And recently I had a chance to read an interview with Thurman from, it was just before he died, and the journalist he spoke to said that Thurman wasn't enjoying telling stories about the war. As older he was, as tougher it was for him to bring these memories back. But at the time of the war, and especially when we watch the Philip, the movie, we can see that his way to go through the war is to enjoy every moment, because
It can be the last one.
It can be the last day of your life. And of course, it's not only the fun, right? Because how to enjoy your life when you are a Jew in Germany, working as a Frenchman in the hotel. So you asked me about his French citizenship or French language skills. So before the war, he had a chance to spend a year in Paris at the very nice Academy of Fine Arts. And the way he actually got to Paris was just a coincidence. I mean, he wasn't this type of pre-war era student from rich house. Actually, he was pretty poor, but he had a chance to get some scholarship from French government, and that's how he went to France in 1938 for a year. And he was studying interior architecture. And like I mentioned before, the status of these pre-war people was so different to today's, especially when it comes to your skills, your knowledge, your language. So, for example, when you were graduated before the war...
We'll talk more about it in the next episodes, because this time we have to wrap up. But of course, what we invite you, all of you, the viewers of Bill and Daily, first of all, read the books of Marcel Woźniak and his biography about Leopold Thurman, and definitely go to the movie theaters to watch the movie Philip. And thank you very much for watching our show.